US President Donald Trump has once again shocked the world with a bold and controversial proposal to take over Gaza, displacing Palestinians and transforming the war-torn region into what he called the Riviera of the Middle East. These comments made during Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to Washington have ignited a wave of global outrage. The UN condemned the plans as unlawful and immoral. Spain reaffirmed Gaza's role in a future Palestinian state, while Irish officials expressed scepticism, particularly over Trump's suggestions to relocate Palestinians, which contradicts UN resolutions. France, Poland and the UAE also opposed the plans, citing violations of international law. In response, the White House clarified that the US would not send troops or fund Gaza's reconstruction. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt described the plan as an out-of-the-box idea for lasting peace, while Secretary of State Marco Rubio emphasised it was a generous proposal, not a hostile move. Joining us first to discuss this story, we are joined by Yossi Kalpawasi, who is a former head of research at the IF Defence Intelligence, joining us from Israel. Yossi, thank you very much for your time. We've heard the feeling there from around the world, but I want to understand the feeling within Israel regarding the statement that Trump's made.
Good afternoon. The feeling in Israel is that this is a really out-of-the-box proposal that has to be looked upon, and because this, for the first time, is an idea that may put an end to those terror attacks from Gaza Strip that are hitting Israel again and again and again, and we finish every round with Hamas rearming itself and getting ready to launch a new hostile attack against Israel. So it's this is an idea that may lead us to the end of this kind of situation in Gaza. And on top of that, it is providing a solution for the people of Gaza, because Gaza has suffered a lot in this last war, and it's going to be very difficult to reconstruct Gaza as it is while the population is there.
Also joining us to discuss this is Gautam Mukherjee, a senior journalist. Gautam, thank you very much for joining us as well. What does this mean for Palestinians? Of course, they've had such a long period, specifically those not affiliated with Hamas, such a long period under fire, displacement of millions, and now potentially the threat of being moved out of their country.
Well, it's really aimed at the Hamas rather than the Palestinians, because the Hamas are embedded there with the connivance and the cooperation of the Palestinians. It's the Hamas that runs the Gaza Strip. And even though they have been, pounded for a year and a half, they still exist. They still hold hostages. They still have miles of tunnels into which they hide. They still have stockpiles of weapons. So all of this needs to come apart once and for all. And since the Palestinians are inextricably wound up with the Hamas, and they've allowed Hamas to take over the Strip, you have to disentangle the two. And in order to do so, Trump has come up with an out-of-the-box proposal. Now, having said that, if you look at some of his other proposals, he has an opening gambit, which usually produces results, as it has done in Canada and Mexico, not so much in China, which wants to contest, but both Mexico and Canada have come to the table, have quickly adopted some of the demands made by Trump. Similarly, I'm sure quite a few of Trump's demands with regard to Gaza, beyond this sort of sensational headline, will be met by the Palestinians as well as the Hamas. And then modifications of this plan to actually go there and turn it into a zone controlled by the Americans. There are also domestic issues that are not too happy with the idea of boots on the ground. So I think Trump knows all this, but I think he'll achieve a great deal before he dilutes the proposal.
Yes, also joining us is Ross Feingold, a political risk analyst joining from Taiwan. Ross, thank you for your time. I want to look at the almost contradiction that's coming from the States. We've had Trump, who previously said that the Gazans and Palestinians wouldn't move home, but then Marco Rubio, Caroline Leavitt have both said that it would be temporary. What do you think the end goal will be for the United States in regards to moving Palestinians?
Ultimately, what the Trump administration is most concerned about is Israel's security. And I think the Trump administration has made that clear, even though they've only been in office for a few short weeks. So when we're discussing what's going to become of the residents of Gaza, I think we have to look at it through the lens of Israel's security and what's best to safeguard Israel's security and what's best to prevent Hamas from regenerating itself in Gaza and attacking Israel again. So if it's whether it's temporary or long-term, Trump administration has excellent communications, I think, with Egypt, with Jordan, with the Gulf countries like Saudi Arabia. So yeah, in a way, I agree that this is just an opening gambit. It's probably not going to work out as simply as President Trump described it at a news conference. But there is the possibility that the Trump administration is going to put pressure on some of the neighboring countries to accept some of the Palestinian population. And those countries might have no choice but to cave into pressure from the Trump administration and admit large numbers of refugees on a long-term or possibly even a permanent basis.
Thank you very much, Ross Feingold, and thank you very much to Gautam Mukherjee as well for joining us. And also, thank you, Yossi Kupawasa.